Happy Friday, everybody. I just wanted to drop a quick video showing you the two new forms that we have for you guys. Now, we've had the personal property form before, but we've updated it a little bit, so it's not the old logo. Sorry, my fault. And we added some clarifying language as to how to fill out the blanks in the personal property form. And then we've also come up with this utility information sheet that just lays out all the possible utilities for a property, and notifies the buyer that they are responsible for switching things over, right? So not required, but a really good piece of information for your people to have makes things go a lot smoother. So let's jump into personal property one real quick so I could show you the changes. So this is our Coldwell Banker personal property agreement, right? This is not a part of the purchase agreement, but it is contingent on the purchase agreement successfully closing for this personal property to go with the property. So instead of putting it on an amendment to the purchase agreement, we can just use this agreement right here. For any personal property. So, in consideration of payment of $1, you don't actually have to give $1, and other good valuable consideration, receipt of which is hereby acknowledged by this first blank is the seller. Okay. And the county which the property is in hereby agree to sell and convey to the buyer's name the following personal property, right? Pretty, pretty easy. So seller's name here, county which the property is located in here, and the buyer's name here. And then whatever personal property that is being transferred. Then it goes on to say the sale and conveyance of the above personal property is subject to the successful closing of the purchase agreement. So just because they've signed this personal property agreement does not mean they now own that personal property. They do have to close on the property before the buyers can take possession of that personal property. It also references the date of the purchase agreement and the property of where the purchase agreement is, right? So this is going to be your address. Then it goes on to say that if the sale does not close, this personal property agreement immediately becomes null and void, right? So obviously, that's the whole point of a personal property agreement. Now, here's the important part, which is why I recommend you use this form over an amendment. It says seller hereby warrants he or she is the lawful owner of said personal property. Have you ever sold a property where there's a lawnmower on the property? The seller says, "Yep, we'll sell that to the buyer, or we'll convey it at closing with personal property." And then you find out a month later that that mower is not actually owned by the seller who sold the property. It's owned by the neighbor or the cousin or the auntie. I have. It hasn't been fun. So this says that seller says that they are the lawful owner of the personal property and that it's free and clear from all encumbrances, particularly boats. Boats have loans on them, right? Free and clear of all encumbrances like loans. It is understood the buyer accepts the personal property in its as is condition, which makes sense, right? If we're selling an old stove with the property, buyer understands that it's an old stove. We're not going to fix it. We're not going to warranty it. It's an as is condition. Then you have both your clients sign. Easy peasy, personal property form. Then the next one is the utility information sheet. There we go. So this is just an information sheet. Okay. It gives the property address here and then service providers, contact information for those service providers, and a 12-month average cost. And up here, it gives you a little bit of information on how to fill this form out. And really, this is for the seller to fill out, right? The information you provide will be available to real estate agents and potential buyers of your property. A 12-month average can be obtained by contacting your local utility provider, so they don't have to go through each one of their bills. They can just call. Privacy laws prevent realtors from containing your personal utility information. I don't know if you've ever had to call a utility company for a client before, but they will not give you any information because you are not on the account. It doesn't matter that you're their real estate agent and you're selling their property. Okay. Pretty easy. Put the property address here, and then they fill these things out. If they use We did most of what we thought people might be interested in as buyers in particular, because all of our offices had some kind of form that was like this. And so we tried to put them together as best we could. Who is the electrical provider? Propane, natural gas, or fuel oil? Is there city water, city sewer? If there's not, just leave it blank, right? Do they contract with anybody for garbage? What is their internet, cable, phone provider? Who is their HVAC person, right? Who is their plumber, their electrician, their septic installer, their well installer? How many times have you closed on a property and gotten a call after closing from your buyer saying, "Hey, our septic just backed up. Who did they use for the septic installer?" Essentially, who knows this system already and can come help us fix it? So this just gives a nice, simple form to be able to do that. And then we thought we'd add some additional notes right here. If there was something that the seller wanted to add to any additional notes, like electrician. I used my brother-in-law because he's licensed and bonded, but he did it for me for free. He's not going to do it for you for free. Anything like that. Then on the bottom part, this is the piece that I like. It says it is the buyer's responsibility to transfer all utilities into their name after the property closing. Okay. It also talks about the utility and service information was provided by the seller. This information is specific to the usage of the seller and does not guarantee that your provider will not charge more or less than what has been reported in this document. Please be advised that the figures are average billing amounts. Actual billing amounts will vary. Okay. That's also important. It protects your seller a little bit because if you've got a little old grandma who lives by herself in her 5-bedroom house, and if you have a 6-person family that's moving in, obviously their utilities are going to be different. They're going to use more water, right? They're going to use more electricity. And so those averages won't transfer over to the next one. Those are the two forms that we have for you. Hopefully they're helpful. Hopefully you can use them and use them well. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Have a wonderful weekend.